Elizabeth. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Did you have a easy drive over here?
It was excellent.
All right, good. And there was parking?
I found a spot right up front.
All right, good. So where should we start? Really like your Purdue sweatshirt.
Oh, well, thank you.
Do you know anybody that went there?
I do.
Okay. Who went there?
My granddaughter.
Oh, okay. Well, that's exciting. I went there too. So before we start, actually, did you want any tea or water?
No, I have a drink over here.
Okay. Well, if you need anything, I can always grab it for
Okay.
you during the
Thank
session. You're welcome. So, I am actually getting my master's right now. I am your counselor, but I have a supervisor that's over me. So I just wanted to prepare you that I'm still learning and that it's a learning process for me as well as for you right now. A supervisor will be looking over all of our therapy sessions and
Okay.
giving me advice, and she may come in during some of our sessions as well. Okay. When you were out in the lobby, did you sign papers out there?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the papers was about confidentiality. So I wanted to go over that with you.
Okay.
With the confidentiality forms, it's basically telling you that this is a safe place. I won't share your information. No one else will know besides my supervisor who's overlooking this. There is one limitation to that though. If you mention anything about child abuse, elderly abuse, or endangering yourself or others, those will be reported.
Okay.
I will let you know though if I feel like something needs to be reported. I will let you know when I am doing so,
Okay.
so you are aware. But so now we can kind of discuss our plan for therapy. So with you, we're gonna try to do 30-minute sessions every week. And each session we'll try to create goals, and then we'll discuss the goals from the previous session and probably create more goals or alter the ones we already created. Okay.
All right.
Does that work for you?
That works.
Okay. So, what brings you in today?
It's been a very stressful year.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter had cancer, and it was like she had 50-50 chance of survival,
Mm-hmm.
which is very hard. I went to help take care of her, and it was hard. I would peel the skin off the bottom of her feet.
Mm-hmm.
She slept a lot. She was taking chemo. I'd go to the chemo sessions with her, and she wouldn't eat right. She was moody. Like I said, she slept a lot.
Mm-hmm.
She was on medication. I'd have to give her medication. She would forget. And it was just real hard. She's such a vibrant person, you know. She's always busy, always doing things, so smart. And all of a sudden to see her like this puddle,
Mm-hmm.
it was very hard.
Mm-hmm. It's hard probably too seeing your daughter like that.
Right. It kind of made me wonder, why her? You know, I'm 75 years old. I've got nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Why her?
Yeah.
She has children, grandchildren. She's only 50. She's young.
Yeah. It's hard seeing someone young and healthy go through something that makes them not.
Right.
Yeah.
Changes them completely.
Mm-hmm. And then how long was that going on for?
She was on chemo for a year,
Okay.
and then she got off the chemo, but she still had the symptoms, you know, of the chemo in her system. But now she's gotten a very good outcome. She's cancer free for now,
Good.
and she's still doesn't understand why she doesn't have the energy she used to have.
Mm-hmm.
But she was on chemo for a year. She's only been off for like 2 months.
Yeah.
So it's going to take time, but it's hard on her.
Mm-hmm. What kind of, if you don't mind me asking, what kind of cancer did she go through?
Breast cancer.
Okay, so she went through chemo, and then did she have any surgeries or
Yes,
anything?
she did. She had surgery. They removed the tissue inside and left the skin,
Mm-hmm.
and then they put the implants in, and they slowly pumped them up.
Okay, so did she got a double mastectomy?
Yeah.
That
They
was
didn't
called?
remove the skin,
Yeah.
but they did remove the fatty tissue and
That
all
was
the lymph
inside.
nodes and
So yeah, I can see how that would be stressful, and it was probably stressful for her, and then stressful for you.
right. She
Um,
went through a lot.
Yeah, and you, empathy, being empathetic.
I think mostly being her mother,
Yeah,
it was real hard to watch. It would have been hard to watch anybody go through it, but the fact that she was my daughter made it that much harder.
yeah. Seeing the person that you care about the most
Mhm.
going through someone that you made yourself.
Right.
So, what do you think? Which this is a question. I know this is gonna be sound crazy. So, what do you think stressed you out the most? I understand the cancer itself, but what do you think were the biggest parts of stress on you?
Watching the change in her,
Mm-hmm.
watching her become, I, I don't know what to call it. She was just not herself
Mm-hmm.
at all.
Yeah.
She was a different person.
So it's kind of like you felt like maybe you were already grieving something.
Right.
That grieving who she was
Right.
while she was going through it because she wasn't herself.
Yes, exactly.
And then was there anything? So the cancer probably affected your life in different ways, which also maybe caused stress. Did it cause stress in different parts of your life outside of just the fact of watching
I lost
someone?
my job
Yeah.
because I had to be off all the time, and they needed people at work, which I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lost my job, my form of income. That was stressful, very stressful.
Mm-hmm. Which now you're probably are you still dealing with the stress of that?
Yes, definitely. I think there's an end to it, and then something else pops up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be really stressful. So in what ways are you trying to cope with this stress?
I do a lot of praying.
Mm-hmm.
I try to take myself out of it by not having it a constant thought in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I have my great grandkids, they help. They keep me on my toes. They keep me from going into depression.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those are the things we can work on in therapy too. Ways to cope with these situations, especially the situation that's probably still having some effects on you
Right.
now. But you referred to depression. What is the depression that you feel like?
It's you think things are going to be okay. You convince yourself things are going to be okay, and then something else comes up and knocks you down, and you think, oh my God, why am I even here?
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you here helping me? Or why does this have to happen to me all the time?
Yeah.
You get into like a self-pitying kind of
Mm-hmm.
state, and you've got to get yourself out of it.
Yeah, that's understandable. So the ways you said before that you try to step back from situations, is that the way you use to cope with when you're feeling like that, or what do you normally do when you start feeling like that?
Yeah, I kind of step back. You got to see the good in it. I mean, like, I lost a lot of money, but then I'm getting money. But then it just popped into my head, they're going to charge me for all that money I was supposed to get. Taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes, because they're going to say I made it even though I didn't. And it's very, actually, I can get angry about that. But I try not to.
Yeah.
I try to keep the anger down by simply making it less.
So when you get angry, you try to make it less. So some things that we could work on is the depression feelings as well as the anger. Obviously, we can't change the circumstances that you're dealing with, but we can change how we can deal with them. We'll start with the depression, and then I'll talk about anger as well. When you are feeling depressed, is there certain things you do, like do you go take a nap, or do you feel unmotivated? Like what are those effects of the depression on you?
I need to, like I said, take myself away from it. So getting busy helps.
Yeah.
I'll clean out the refrigerator. I'll cook a meal. I'll anything that will take my mind off. I'll play games on my phone. Anything that takes my mind off of it, just so that I can step away from it for a while. And then when I step back, it's easier to deal with.
So that usually works for you, to step away.
Yes, stepping away and then coming back to it with a different mindset.
Yeah, that's a good way to deal with it. Is there any times that doesn't work?
Yeah, there are.
And what happens when it doesn't work?
Oh, a good cry. Going for a drive in my car. Like I said, the great grandchildren are very good for that, because they take all my everything, my mind, my emotions, my
tension.
Yeah.
Maybe some money too.
Yeah.
Well, that's good that you've already kind of developed coping skills, and because some people get into a depression to where they can't get out of it. So many people will go to sleep, and then they'll sleep for very long periods of time, or they'll be so deep in their depression that they're unmotivated to do anything. So that's good that you're taking the time to step back and do things.
And that's probably what I would do if I didn't recognize it.
Yeah.
I would probably sleep or be unmotivated, lay around, not do anything. But you just gotta watch for the signs.
Yeah, I agree, and because it's a normal side effect. It's not something that would be wrong of you to do, but it is something that you wouldn't want to do because it wouldn't help. Yeah, so I'm glad you can see the signs of your depression. And then for the anger, so with all the things going on with the money and making you feel angry, what does that kind of feel like for you? Like, what does the anger feel like?
If I let it, it will make my head hurt.
Yeah.
It's like my head swells, my brain's swelling, and it's just taking over everything.
So it's taking over mentally, and then kind of takes over physically.
Yeah.
Okay. So with anger, sometimes it's hard because when someone gets angry, that happens, or they just see red or just black out and they can't focus on anything else. Do you feel like any of that happens to you?
I have had that happen to me, and it's not pleasant, so I don't do it.
Yeah. Well, so you're already taking good steps for mental health. One of the coping skills, though, you could use for the anger is if you're starting to feel like that, we do just like a little countdown. So, like, step away, and then just like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and wait to react. Because sometimes anger is just an automatic reaction we have to things, but it's not the actual emotion you're feeling. Like, for example, some people be like, I was angry, but it could have been I was upset, I was disappointed, I was sad, I was afraid. all the other types of emotions were. So sometimes anger is the one we go to. So anger, as you would see, like with an angry smiley face or well, not smiling, but an angry like emoji, it's just red, and it's not normally a good emotion. So that's a coping skill we could use for that. And for depression, um, sounds like you've got a pretty good handle on it. There's some other ways too when you step back, some things you could do. Um, one big one that a lot of the people enjoy is, do you like writing
Writing,
or reading?
I used to use that a lot for
Mm-hmm.
depression. I would write my brother.
Mm-hmm.
At that time he was in Germany.
Okay. Yeah. So
Never
that's,
sent the letters, but I always wrote him 6, 7 page letters.
yeah. Well, that's nice because in your journal you could like pretend that you're writing to someone, and it's not just you writing your
Yeah.
thoughts down. Well, that's good, and that's a good advice I would give you too. Is when there's not certain things to get your mind off, like you've already seen the grandchildren, or you're just alone. Sometimes you're alone, and there's not much to do but fall into that state of mind. Is to utilize the journaling when you can. Going for a drive is good too, and if you like music, listening to music even while you're on the drive. Um, just sometimes those don't always work in all situations.
Right.
So it's good that you've already developed ones that you could use in other situations, just stepping back for a second, putting your mind to something else. Also, you said you like games. Do you like puzzles?
Yes, I have puzzles on my phone.
Okay. See, that's also a good one because those are one of those things that if you're enjoying it, you haven't finished it yet, you can always come back to it. And at those times, you could go back to that, and your mind is just focused on the puzzle itself. So,
The crosswords are the same way. The crossword puzzles, I have
Uh-huh.
those on my phone.
oh, yes. Yeah. Those are
Those
good. It's crazy that everything's on phones now.
I know it.
You used to have to go buy those little books from the store
And I still do
carry
that.
your
I'm
pen.
I'm not gonna lie, I still do that.
Yeah, I feel like those feel more. I don't know. I like paper better.
Well, when my great grandkids come down here, one takes over the TV, the other one takes over my phone. So I resort to my books.
Yeah, you have to have something to go to. Yeah, they're not gonna understand
No.
paper pencil things when they're older. They're like, what is that? this is where it came from. But okay, so I think we have a good start with our therapy. Is there anything else you needed to address today?
I don't think so. I think the cancer and the Social Security was.
Okay. So, first and foremost, we're gonna try to work on the anger and the depression. But I think the first thing is the depression. I think your anger is not as. I think your depression might be priority. Do you agree with that?
Probably. Because the anger causes the depression too, I think.
Yeah.
I think they both, the cancer and I think they both contribute to the.
Yeah, that they might correlate with each other,
Right.
and there might both be effects, but maybe if you're in a depression, it might lead to anger. They might come hand in hand. So we'll say we'll focus on first is depression, but we might actually be working on both by doing so.
Okay.
But we'll start off by just utilizing coping skills, and maybe every week we can try a new one out. So like this week we'll try journaling again. How does that sound?
That sounds fine.
So then next time when we meet, we can say, okay, were you feeling depressed at any time? And if you weren't, that's great. And if you were, okay, did you utilize the journaling? And then you can let me know if you did, and if it worked or if it didn't work.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good plan for that?
I'll have to buy a new tablet because my great granddaughter took over mine.
Yeah. Well, we can figure out some way for you. If you need to, I think there's notebooks out there if you need to do pencil paper notes. But okay, and then also, are you opposed to like medical management? We have a psychiatrist that can also, for the future, not right now, but if you're feeling like therapy just isn't enough, are you willing to utilize medication, or do you just want to focus on therapy?
That would be my last resort.
Last resort. Okay. I just want to make sure because we can make referrals at any time, but I just wanted to know what your plan was because some people come in thinking they're going to get both.
Right, and I don't think pills do that much. I think you have to work at it.
Yeah, working on the mind first
Right.
and dealing with the situation. I agree, but just wanted to make sure. And then last thing, not related to therapy, but we do have some resources out in the community that if you ever need them for like helping with bills, helping with groceries, helping with cancer resources if you need them for your daughter. We have those, and we have a packet out in the lobby. Would you like one of those?
Coping with bills.
Yep.
I would definitely like that.
Okay. So we will get that for you on the way
Okay.
out. But it was good to see you today.
It was fun coming in.
Yep. And I look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay.
All right. Well, you have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.